Renovating a property for profit, be it to renovate it and sell it, or renovate it to rent, can be a tricky balancing act of working out where exactly you should be spending money. So today I want to talk about my mindset that I use when I'm renovating properties and give you a few real life examples of things that you can look at as a way of saving money when renovating to really maximize your profits in the long run. Let's jump into it. So when you're renovating a property for financial gain, that is to either sell the property or rent it out, it's really important to keep a number of things in mind. So today I'm going to run through that. And there's a little bit of a disclaimer right at the start. I just want to say if you are renovating a property for yourself to live in for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, there's obviously a big difference of the considerations you're taking into account. You're renovating the property for yourself and for your personal taste. So you're not focusing so much on the financial gain of those renovations. So today we're strictly talking renovating property to either rent it out or to sell it, and the things to keep in consideration when you are doing those renovations. The first thing to really keep in mind is someone's home. It's their monument, it's their place of enjoyment. It's what they look forward to coming back to at the end of the day, and in the day of social media, it's what they like to show off. It's their big item, and that's whether they're renting or owning. People go into living in a property with that sort of mindset, somewhere that they feel safe, somewhere that they'll enjoy, and somewhere once you reach over a certain price point that they can show off to their friends and family. So when you're doing renovations, it's important to remember why actually someone would choose to live in that property, be it buy it or rent it, and go into those renovations with those things at the forefront of your mind. The other concept that's really important to keep in mind when you're doing renovations to make profit is to really know what return you're going to get on each little bit of an investment. If you're going to spend $10,000 on a property, is that going to increase the value of the property by $10,000, or will it increase the rent enough to justify that renovation? There's no point putting a $30,000 kitchen in if it only increases the value by $20,000. As my general rule of thumb, I look to spend $1 on a property to get $2 back. So that is a $10,000 renovation, should increase the value of the property by $20,000. Or if you're looking at it from a rental side of view, what return am I going to get on that investment as a percentage? So if you're doing a $10,000 renovation, is it going to add $10 or $20 a week to the rental price? And then you can really work out the numbers and work out if something's worthwhile doing. Obviously, if something's falling apart and absolutely has to be replaced, like the kitchen, the cupboards are all crumbling and water soaked and there's water damage and they're falling apart, that's a different situation. You need to do those renos, but you can still look at a cost-based sort of analysis when looking at that. Should you do stone bench tops? Should you do normal laminate bench tops? You can really weigh up, depending on your price point, depending on your market, what return you're going to get on those things. So to jump into some real life examples, one that gets asked so often, especially from owner-occupied properties that are looking at selling, is does the solar add much value to a property? Now, it's amazing how often I've sold properties with solar, and the short of the long answer is it makes no difference at all when it comes to the final negotiations. It's funny, when buyers walk into a property, we'll be talking about the benefits and the features of the home, and I'll mention solar and I always get the standard reply, "Oh, that's fantastic." Buyers get excited for that split 2 seconds as I mention it, and 3 seconds later have forgotten all about it. They're more concerned about how the home flows and feels, and what they can feel, touch and see. So while solar can be a great saving in the long run for both tenants and owner occupiers, the truth is it's not an emotional tag. It's sort of a logical thing, and it's not an emotional thing. And really, buyers will buy on emotion and tenants will rent out on an emotion. So the solar, it's up on the roof, it's forgotten about really quickly, and it's never a reason why a buyer will buy one property over the next. So if you are doing a renovation to rent the property out or sell it, I'd give solar a miss as one item that you can just tick off the list that you don't need to add to a property. The second big factor that you should be looking at is your fittings and fixtures you're using for your renovation. Now, it's really easy to go spend $2,000-3,000 on a tap or a fancy pendant light, but the reality is for 99.9% of buyers, they won't know the difference between the $2,000 fitting and the $200 fitting. So really be conscious of that, especially if you're doing 20 lights throughout a property or 4 or 5 different taps. it's easy for that $200 or $300 extra spend on each item to add up over a project and really eat into your profits. On the inverse side of that, don't go the cheapest of the cheap. Now, it's easy to spend $10 on a tap, but it's not going to last, and it does look cheap and shitty, to be honest. So find that sort of mid-range, low to mid-range products, and you'll really find that there's often 2 taps or 2 light fittings that do look really similar, but will have that substantial difference in price. So shop around, have a look around, and that's a really big cost saving that can add great value to a property when you're doing renovations. The third item I want to discuss today is swimming pools. Now, I live in North Queensland. It's a beautiful climate up here, and you can pretty much go swimming all year round. If ever there was a market and an argument that a pool would be a benefit to a property, it's up here in Cairns. But the reality is, there's really only about a third or half the buyers tops in any given market that are actually looking for a pool and are going to make use of a pool. So the $20 to $30 to $40 to $50,000 investment of putting in a pool will sometimes actually detract from the value rather than add to the value, and very best case scenario, it might add the value of the pool to the property. It's very, very rare that any pools put into a property will actually add value above what they'll actually cost. Now, a much better investment is to actually just spend the money on landscaping the gardens and creating beautiful gardens that will attract buyers to the property. It's a lot more cost effective, and you will see that $2 return on a $1 spend. So if you are tossing up putting a pool, be it into a new build property or into a rental property or into an investment that you're looking at selling, I would strongly recommend not doing so. It's very rare that we actually see even the investment back, let alone making money on doing that work. So there you have it. There's 3 items, and the principles around those items that you should be considering when doing renovations, be it to rent the property out or to sell the property for a profit. So if you're really mindful of those things that buyers can look at, touch, feel, and the way that they live in the property, it's certainly going to be a benefit when you are doing those renovations to make sure it comes out profitable. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and look, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you subscribe. We put out a heap of content on this channel and love bringing you new videos. I look forward to speaking to you soon, and have a fantastic week.